I'm Emily, trapped in a life that feels like a grayscale painting, where every day bleeds into the next with no color, no spark. My marriage to Mark, once a vibrant dream, now feels like two ships passing in the night, lost in the fog of endless work and unspoken distance. But last night, as I slumped in the back of a taxi, exhausted and broken after a brutal day, something shifted. A dangerous proposition from two strangers pierced through my haze of despair. With bills piling up and desperation clawing at my heart, I stood at a crossroads that could shatter everything I hold dear. What did I choose in that shadowy moment, and at what cost? Picture this. The world outside my window is a kaleidoscope of neon and shadow, a restless hum that never quite settles. I'm Emily, 30 years old, caught in the grind of suburban life just outside the heart of a city that never sleeps. My days blur together, a canvas of muted grays, as I navigate the chaos of a life that feels both full and strangely hollow. I'm married to Mark, 32, a software engineer with a heart of gold, but a schedule that keeps us orbiting each other like distant planets. He's kind, always has been, but lately, his long hours at the tech firm mean our conversations are reduced to fleeting hellos and tired goodnights. I miss the way we used to linger over coffee, sharing dreams and silly nothings. Now, it's just the echo of his footsteps leaving for work before I'm even awake. I work as a marketing coordinator at a downtown firm, a mid-level gig that sounds fancier than it feels. The pressure is relentless. Deadlines loom like storm clouds, and every client meeting is a tightrope walk between confidence and collapse. By the end of the day, I'm drained, my mind a foggy mess of spreadsheets and forced smiles. My commute home is my only reprieve, though even that feels like a chore some nights, like tonight. I'm slumped in the back of a taxi, my feet throbbing in heels that seemed like a good idea 12 hours ago. My laptop bag weighs heavy on my shoulder, a constant reminder of the work I'll probably drag into bed with me. The city lights streak past the window, a blur of color I barely register as I zone out, my head resting against the cool glass. The driver, Ray, is a character straight out of a novel. He's in his 40s, I'd guess, with a gravelly voice that carries stories in every syllable. He's got this effortless charm, the kind that makes you feel like you've known him forever after just a few words. He's chatting away about some wild tale from his younger days, something about a late-night adventure that has me half listening, half lost in my own exhaustion. In the passenger seat is his friend Carl, a quieter type, late 30s maybe, with a presence that's hard to ignore. He doesn't say much, just sits there, but every now and then I catch his eyes in the rearview mirror. There's something intense in his gaze, a brooding edge that makes me shift uncomfortably in my seat, though I can't quite place why. I chalk it up to being overtired, my mind playing tricks after a 16-hour day. Ray's laughter pulls me back, a rough, warm sound that fills the cab. He's got a way of making even the mundane feel like a grand tale, and for a moment, I let myself get lost in it. My feet ache with every subtle shift, the sharp sting of blisters reminding me how much I hate these shoes. I adjust my bag, the strap digging into my shoulder, and I let out a quiet sigh, trying to shake off the day's weight. It's around 9:30 p.m. and I'm beyond spent after a brutal 12-hour slog at the office. My blouse is a crumpled mess, clinging to me in all the wrong places, and my makeup is smudged from the stress that's been gnawing at me since morning. I probably look like I've been through a war zone, but right now, I couldn't care less. All I want is to get home, kick off these torture devices disguised as heels, and collapse into bed. Ray, the driver, notices my weary slump and turns his head slightly, his gravelly voice cutting through the low hum of the engine. "Rough day, huh, darlin'? You look like you've been wrestling with the devil himself." There's a warmth in his tone, a genuine concern that catches me off guard. I manage a weak smile and nod, mumbling something about endless meetings and impossible deadlines. He chuckles, a deep rumbling sound, and dives right into trying to lift my spirits. "Well, let me tell you something to take your mind off it. I've had some characters in this cab over the years, let me tell you. Like this one lady, swear on my life, she forgot her pet snake in the back seat. A dang snake. I nearly jumped out of my skin when I saw it slithering around after she got out. Took me an hour to wrangle that thing into a box. I can't help it. I laugh. It's the first real laugh I've let out all day, and it feels like a tiny crack in the heavy armor I've been wearing. The weight on my shoulders lifts, just a fraction, as I lean forward a bit, engaging with him. You're kidding. What did you even do with it? I ask, my voice lighter than it's been in hours. Ray grins, clearly pleased to have my attention, and launches into the rest of the story. How he had to call the lady back. How she acted like it was no big deal, like she forgot her umbrella or something. His storytelling is animated, full of little gestures with one hand while the other stays steady on the wheel, and I find myself hanging on his every word, grateful for the distraction. In the front passenger seat, Carl stays quiet, his presence still as heavy as ever. I glance up and catch his eyes in the rearview mirror again. Those dark, unreadable eyes lock onto mine for a split second before he looks away, and there's something in that gaze, something intense, almost piercing, that sends a shiver down my spine. It's not threatening, not exactly, but it's unsettling. Like he's studying me, peeling back layers I didn't even know I had. I shift in my seat, crossing my arms over my chest, and try to focus on Ray's voice instead, but that fleeting moment lingers in the back of my mind. A quiet. As Ray's story about the snake winds down, his laughter fades into a low hum, and the atmosphere in the cab shifts in a way I can't quite describe at first. It's subtle, like the air itself grows heavier, pressing against me. I'm still leaning forward a bit, a faint smile lingering on my lips from his tail, when I notice the engine's rumble slow to a stop. Ray cuts the ignition, and the sudden silence is deafening, broken only by the distant hum of the city outside. My brow furrows as I glance out the window, realizing we're not at my street yet. We've pulled over on some quiet side road, the neon glow of the main drag replaced by dim streetlights casting long, eerie shadows across the pavement. My stomach tightens, a flicker of unease creeping in. Ray shifts in his seat, turning to face me fully for the first time since I got in the cab. His weathered hands rest loosely on the steering wheel, knuckles rough and scarred from years of hard living, I'd guess. The jovial glint in his eyes is gone, replaced by something darker, more serious, almost conspiratorial. It's a look that pins me in place, my breath catching as I wait for him to speak. In the passenger seat, Carl doesn't move, but I feel his gaze on me again, sharper now, burning through the rearview mirror with a quiet intensity that makes my skin prickle. I don't dare meet his eyes this time. I'm too focused on Ray, on the way his mouth curves into a slow, deliberate line before he finally speaks. "Listen, darlin'," he starts, his gravelly voice lower now, almost a whisper, like he's sharing a secret meant just for me. "Me and Carl, we've been talkin', and we've got a little proposition for you. Something that could help a tired soul like yourself out." My heart starts to pound, a wild drumbeat in my chest, as I try to process his tone, the weight behind his words. I don't know what I'm expecting, but it's not what comes next. $700, cash, right here, right now. All you gotta do is spend the night with us at a motel just up the road. Nothing complicated, just a little company, if you catch my drift. The words hit me like a punch, stealing the air from my lungs. I blink, my mind scrambling to make sense of what he's just said, hoping I've misunderstood. But the look on his face, the way Carl's stare seems to bore into me, even without looking directly at him, tells me I heard right. The cab feels smaller now, the walls closing in, as a suffocating silence stretches out between us. My hands tighten around the strap of my laptop bag, fingers digging into the worn leather, as if it's the only thing grounding me. I can't speak, can't even form a coherent thought at first. My pulse races so fast I'm sure they can hear it, the sound of my own blood rushing in my ears drowning out everything else. Inside, I'm a storm of conflicting emotions, each one crashing into the next. There's shock, raw and jagged, cutting through the fog of exhaustion I've been carrying all day. Disgust follows close behind, a bitter taste in my mouth as I think about what they're suggesting, the way they've turned this ride into something so transactional. I've never been in a situation like this, never imagined I would be. I'm a married woman, for heaven's sake, with a life and a husband waiting for me at home, even if that life feels like it's fraying at the edges. But then, there's something else, something I'm ashamed to even acknowledge, a desperate curiosity, a whisper in the back of my mind that I can't quite silence. Money's been tight for months, tighter than I like to admit even to myself. Mark and I are drowning in credit card debt after a home renovation went south, a project that was supposed to be our fresh start but turned into a financial black hole. Bills are piling up on the kitchen counter, red stamp notices that I can barely look at before shoving them into a drawer, out of sight but never out of mind. My mind is spinning as I sit there in the back of the cab, the weight of Ray's proposition hanging heavy in the air. I should say no, should demand they take me home right now, but that whisper of desperation claws at me, reminding me of the late-night arguments with Mark over money, the way we've had to cut corners on everything just to keep our heads above water. $700. It's not a fortune, but it's enough to pay off a chunk of what we owe, enough to buy us a little breathing room. I hate myself for even considering it, for letting the thought take root. But it's there, gnawing at the edges of my resolve. I swallow hard, my throat dry as sandpaper, and finally manage to stammer out a weak, I need to think about it. My voice sounds foreign to me, small and shaky, like it belongs to someone else. Ray nods slowly, his expression unreadable, and mutters, "Take your time, darlin'. We ain't in no rush." Carl doesn't say a word, but I feel the weight of his presence shift, like he's leaning into the silence, letting it press down on me even harder. The cab stays parked on that shadowy side street for what feels like an eternity, though it's probably only a few minutes. My mind races, torn between the life I know and this dark, dangerous temptation that's been laid out before me like a trap. Eventually I nod, barely perceptibly, my decision made in a haze of exhaustion and desperation. I don't say it out loud, don't dare voice the choice I've just made, but Ray seems to understand. He starts the engine again, the low growl breaking the oppressive quiet, and pulls back onto the road without another word. My stomach churns as the city lights blur past once more, each mile taking me further from the safety of home and deeper into something I can't fully grasp. I clutch my bag tighter, my knuckles white, as I try to steady my breathing, to convince myself I can handle whatever comes next. It's not long before we pull into the gravel lot of a place called the Sunset Inn, a rundown motel on the edge of town that looks like it's been forgotten by time. The neon sign out front flickers erratically, the S and T long burned out, leaving just a ghostly unset inn, glowing in sickly green against the night sky. The parking lot is a mess, littered with cigarette butts and crushed beer cans, the asphalt cracked and uneven underfoot as I step out of the cab. The air here smells stale, a mix of cheap perfume and something sour I can't quite place, clinging to the back of my throat. The motel itself is a squat, single-story building, its faded yellow paint peeling in long strips, revealing the gray, weathered wood beneath. A few of the windows are boarded up, and the ones that aren't have curtains drawn tight, as if hiding whatever secrets lie inside. Ray heads to the front desk, his boots crunching on the gravel as he walks with a casual swagger, like he's been here 100 times before. He's got a wad of crumpled bills in his hand, and I watch through the grimy glass door as he exchanges a few words with a bored-looking clerk, a man with a stained shirt and a cigarette dangling from his lips. I stand outside with Carl, the silence between us thicker than ever, pressing down on me like a physical weight. I keep my eyes on the ground, studying the litter at my feet, anything to avoid looking at him. But I can feel his gaze on me, steady and unrelenting, making my skin crawl in a way I can't shake off. I cross my arms over my chest, hugging myself against the chill of the night air, though it's not just the cold that's got me shivering. Somewhere nearby, a TV blares through a cracked window, the muffled sound of a late-night talk show host's laughter cutting through the stillness. It's a jarring reminder of normalcy, of a world that feels so far away right now. As I step into the room at the Sunset Inn, the door creaks shut behind me with a finality that makes my chest tighten. The air inside is heavy, thick with the musty scent of old carpet and stale cigarette smoke that seems to cling to every surface. The dim light from a single bulb overhead casts harsh shadows on the peeling wallpaper, making the space feel even smaller, more suffocating. I stand there for a moment, frozen, my laptop bag still slung over my shoulder like some kind of lifeline to the life I've left behind just outside that door. My heart is a wild thing in my chest, pounding so hard I'm sure it's audible in the oppressive quiet. I can't believe I'm here, that I've let myself cross this line, but the weight of desperation and that promised cash has dragged me into this moment, whether I wanted it or not. Ray's voice breaks the silence, low and gravelly, murmuring words meant to soothe, but they fall flat, empty as the room around us. "It's all right, darlin'. Just relax. We ain't gonna hurt ya." His tone is softer than before, almost gentle, but it does nothing to ease the knot in my stomach. I nod mechanically, not trusting my voice to respond, my eyes darting around the room to avoid meeting his gaze. Carl, as always, is a silent shadow in the corner, his presence a cold weight that I can't ignore. He barely speaks, just watches with that same detached intensity I've felt since the cab, his eyes like ice cutting through the dim light. I wish he'd say something, anything, to break the tension, but he doesn't. And the silence from him feels heavier than Ray's hollow reassurances. I feel like a stranger in my own skin, disconnected, as if I'm watching this all unfold from somewhere far away. My body moves through the motions, following cues I don't want to acknowledge, while my mind screams at me to stop, to turn back, to run out that door and never look back. But I don't. I can't. The reality of those bills piling up at home, the red stamp notices haunting me, keeps me rooted here, even as every fiber of my being rebels against it. The night blurs into a haze of discomfort, a series of moments I can't bring myself to dwell on too closely. It's not about the details of what happens in this room. It's about the way it hollows me out, the way I feel like I'm betraying everything I am, everything I've built with Mark. My thoughts keep drifting to him, to my husband, asleep in our bed miles away, trusting me completely. I picture his face, the way he smiles in his sleep sometimes, so peaceful, so unaware of the chasm I'm carving between us right now. The guilt crashes over me in waves, each one heavier than the last, threatening to drown me. I've never felt so far from him, so unworthy of the life we've tried to make together, even with all its cracks and struggles. Every time I close my eyes, I see him, and the ache in my chest grows sharper, a physical pain that rivals the exhaustion seeping into my bones. I want to cry, to scream, to undo this choice, but I'm trapped in this moment, in this dingy room with its flickering light and suffocating air. Time stretches on, endless and cruel. I find myself counting the hours, staring at the cheap digital clock on the nightstand, its red numbers glowing like a taunt. Each minute feels like an eternity, and I cling to the thought of this being over, of walking out of here and leaving this night behind me. My body aches with a weariness that goes beyond the physical, a bone-deep fatigue that mirrors the numbness creeping into my mind. I try to focus on anything else. The faint hum of traffic outside, the distant sound of that TV still blaring through a nearby window. But nothing can pull me out of this headspace, this dark spiral of regret and self-loathing. Ray's voice cuts through my thoughts again at some point, still low, still trying to sound comforting, but it's a thin veneer over something I can. As the first hints of dawn creep over the horizon, I'm back in the cab, the weight of the night pressing down on me like a physical burden. My body feels heavy, my mind a tangled mess of emotions I can't begin to unravel. Ray drives in silence now, his earlier charm replaced by a quiet that feels almost as oppressive as the hours I've just endured. Carl sits beside him, still an enigma, his gaze fixed on the road ahead. I clutch my purse tightly in my lap, the $700 tucked deep inside, a bitter reminder of the choice I made. It's a lifeline, yes, but one that's come at a cost I'm not sure I can ever fully pay. I ask Ray to drop me a few blocks from my house. I can't bear the thought of pulling up right in front of my home, of tainting that space with the shadow of where I've been. He nods without a word, pulling over on a quiet street as the sun just begins to peek through the gray morning clouds. I step out, the crisp air hitting me like a sharp slap across the face, jolting me out of the numb haze I've been in. The cold bites at my skin, seeping through my thin blouse, and I wrap my arms around myself as the cab pulls away, its taillights disappearing into the early light. I'm alone now, the silence of the morning wrapping around me, broken only by the distant chirp of a bird and the soft crunch of my heels on the pavement as I start the walk home. Each step feels heavier than the last, my feet aching in these cursed shoes, but it's not just physical exhaustion dragging me down. My mind replays fragments of the night, moments I wish I could erase, choices I wish I could undo. The weight of what I've done, of what I've allowed to happen, sits like a stone in my chest. I can still feel the grime of that motel room clinging to me, the memory of dim light and suffocating air, the way I felt so far from myself. It's not about the specifics, not about spelling out the unspoken acts, but about the way it stripped something from me, left me hollow in a way I can't describe. I traded a piece of my soul for that money. And now, as I walk these familiar streets, I wonder if I'll ever feel whole again. The sun is rising higher now, casting long shadows across the sidewalk, painting the world in shades of pale gold and gray. I pass by houses still asleep, their windows dark, their occupants unaware of the storm raging inside me. My street comes into view, and my heart clenches at the sight of our little home, the one Mark and I have poured so much into, even as it's bled us dry. The front door looms ahead, a threshold I'm not sure I deserve to cross anymore. I fumble with my keys, my hands trembling, and as I push the door open, the familiar creak echoes through the quiet morning, louder than I've ever noticed before. It's a sound that seems to announce my guilt, to broadcast my shame to the empty house. Inside, everything is still, the air heavy with the scent of last night's dinner lingering faintly. I slip off my shoes, wincing at the relief and the pain all at once, and pad quietly through the living room, my purse still clutched tight. I can hear the soft rhythm of Mark's breathing as I approach our bedroom, and when I peek in, there he is, still asleep, sprawled across the bed in that peaceful way of his. His face is relaxed, one arm thrown over the pillow I should have been on, completely oblivious to the chasm I've created between us. I stand there for a long moment, just watching him, my chest aching with a mix of love and self-loathing. How can I face him after what I've done? How can I pretend everything is okay when I feel like I've shattered something sacred? I tear myself away and head to the bathroom, closing the door softly behind me. The mirror confronts me with a reflection I barely recognize. My face is pale, almost ghostly under the harsh fluorescent light. My mascara smudged. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment if you enjoyed this story. This will help us create more engaging stories for you.